going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be doing a Jeep mod. As you can see in front of me, I've got the ARB dual air compressor. I want to get some onboard air in the Jeep Gladiator, so we're going to be installing this with ARB's front seat bracket. We're going to try and do the driver's front seat, but I see this as more of like a building block piece for the Gladiator. I want to run air lockers down the road, and this is something that I'm going to need to have if I'm going to want to run those air lockers. Plus, it's just going to be very convenient for running trails and being able to air up while on the trail. So without further ado, let's get to the install of this compressor to the bracket here, and then once that's done, we'll take it outside, take the driver's seat out of the Jeep, and throw it in the driver's seat. So let's see how this all goes. I've read mixed reviews about these installs. Some say it's super easy, some say it's hours of painstaking work, but let's hope for the best, fingers crossed, and let's get this done. Okay guys, so let me give you a quick rundown of the components that I bought with this kit. So we've got the pump up kit here. This is the extension hose that goes from the compressor to your tires. The ARB inflating tool. Really pretty. Looks super sleek. Comes in a nice packaging. We've got the ARB easy deflate system. This will allow me to deflate the tires very quickly. Also very nice packaging, trail ready. Love it. This is the bracket that will mount under the seat right back here. We've got the installation kits, and then of course we have the actual compressor itself, which is quite a beast. This thing is massive. First off, we've got two different guides here. We've got the actual compressor guide, and then we have the bracketing guide. So we'll start with the bracketing, get the system all set up, and then we'll get the compressor ready to go. So this is going to be the important part. This is how we're going to orient the output for the compressor to make sure that it can sit under the seat. But this is what we need to do first, is remove the actual cover itself, so that way we can orient the compressor output correctly. Of course, it's the old trusty 10 mil. First off, we're removing these 4 corner bolts. There we go. Also, if you have a cat, keep an eye on your extra bolts, because I could see these running away very quickly. There we go. Alright. So that's up. There we go. So that is off. We now have access to our port, which is this guy right here. So there were a few extra parts that we needed to get that don't come with either kit. You're going to want this, which is 0740201, the 90-degree elbow coupler, 0740104, and you'll need the adapter, which is 0740101. Let's go ahead and pull this off, and then we can continue on. I'm going to make sure to keep everything in order here, as long as the cat doesn't destroy it. Manifold bolt's just going to sit right down there, and this is our manifold cap. It says install the adapter. Go ahead, take one of these adapters that I purchased separately, take out the little plastic thread protector, Teflon tape, and put a little bit on the thread there to lock it in. Alright, so we got some thread tape on there. This is going to screw into here. Alright, so there is the adapter attached, and then we will go ahead and put on the elbow joint. So that's one of these guys here. So now we'll go ahead, pop that on there. this to be coming up with the opening of the manifold. So we've got the manifold cap, the adapter, and the elbow adapter, and now we're going to be attaching the reinforced hose to that elbow adapter. The cat is very interested in this process. So that's going to pass through there. So now we want to refit the housing back on. There we go. It sits back down. Flip it back around. 4 bolts are lining up, which is good. We can install these. Let's cover the bracket again. Air filters installed on that side, and now we can carry on to assembly of the bracket. So we've got the bracket in front of us, we've got directions here. We're going to go ahead and set the compressor upside down. So this installs this direction. The wires being protected by the plate on the back here. The feet will also be mounted on here as such. Alright, so we are done with putting the main bracket on. Now we just got to get the switch panel and get that ready, and hopefully we can make it work for the driver's side of the vehicle. Switch will be here, air will be there. Let's go ahead and try to make that happen. We want the ARB facing up. That just pushes right in ideally. Ooh, that actually was a nice click. And now we're going to go into our pump up kit here. Alright, so here we are. This is the piece that's going to be attached to the housing here. And that just bolts through on one side. Alright everyone, well after a trip to Lowe's and much frustration, I think I've found a solution. So I'm pretty much just going to end cap this because I eventually want to put some sort of like limiter so I can change how much PSI comes through the system. But for now that's not very important. So pretty much what it's going to look like, we're going to have the coupler through here with a washer on the back end, and then this will screw on right there, and this is where the hose will attach in. So that's what we got going on now, and I think that'll be a solid solution because then I can choose which angle the hose is at when it sets. So that's the second adapter that we've used, so at least by 2. We'll see how many more we get through by the end of this. I'm going to go ahead and put on the cap for this one as well. flip this around so you guys can see. Alright, so that is what it will look like assembled. Really hope this works. Alright everyone, well, some time has passed. Turns out, like, a lot of this is very incomplete. You're gonna have to extend pretty much every cord that comes with this kit, depending on where you want to place it. So, yeah, there's no terminals on the ends of any of the wires. Most of them aren't even plugged into the switches yet, so a lot more wiring work than I expected, and got frustrated because Lowe's was out of 8-gauge wire, so just went to O'Reilly's. It's now, you know, sometime at night. And yeah, I'm gonna work on doing some extending of the wire harnesses because I'm gonna wanna run these to the driver's side. So yeah, I got an extra 5 feet of each wire to add in, and hopefully that'll be enough to make the circuit full and bring it all the way to the driver's side. And then planning on installing the ignition wire and the switch light wire into the fuse box itself, so I'll have to extend those wires as well. And that should give me the cleanest setup, but we'll see. Nothing is for sure yet, but for now I'm just going to open end, extend all of these as much as possible, and then I can plug and play in the Jeep and trim down to whatever I need to. So I'm not going to show you guys the crimping process, but I will go over which wires I crimp to what once I'm done with them. So I'm going to get to work on stripping these, crimping them, adding some length to them, and yeah, hopefully they can be ready to be put on tomorrow evening, as well as getting the brackets installed for the seat itself. A lot more work than anticipated. Almost wish I would have just paid someone to do it, but we'll see how it goes. Check in soon. So we are outside now. Just want to give a little update. So I attached the leads to the 3 cords here. I just doubled up this one. I put both the ground and the negative onto the same lead. We got the wire harness itself, and then what I did here is I added an extra 5 feet to each wire, and just crimped them and then shrink wrapped. Those go to the battery up here. It's gonna run across the back, down this little hole where my other wires are, and then instead of going into the floorboard right here, we're gonna try and go through the frame under the floorboard and come out at the hole that's under the seat. So right now, we're gonna be removing the seat and taking a look at what that's gonna look like. So it's 1 bolt there, 1 bolt there, and then 2 bolts on the back side. All right, so seat's back now. You can see the air duct that comes out. I think we're gonna have to undo this so that we can detach it from the AC control right there. All right, so the seat is up. Having a tough time getting this bracket to undo itself. Don't know why, but this is what that piece looks like that we're gonna need to trim, which just gives some air to the backseat passengers. All right, if you're having trouble with this one, you gotta push down on that little black tongue right at the tip of my thumb while you're undoing it. And then the seat is free. So this little line here is where we need to cut. So I got the little Dremel out. We're just gonna do a nice clean cut across here and move the piece of air duct that we need out. That'll do. The next step is to trim the carpet. So we're pretty much going to take from this line down, over at the angle, down, down to here, and then all the way down to around here and up. So let's go ahead and cut that out now, see how it goes. I'm gonna put a JFU for Jacob up. This does not fit the 2021 Jeep Gladiator EcoDiesel. Our two back mounts are great. It's sitting there, but look at that. There's no hole up here. This is on a slope. And yeah, that is not great. So here's what we're gonna do. Even though this might be silly now, we're gonna carry on with the install. I'm gonna get a rubber puck and just screw that into here and not go through the floorboard yet, just because I'm not gonna use this a ton, and I think it'll work for the time being. But yeah, that's pretty silly on my part. Here, before I go any further, get a quick test fit. It definitely sits under there, pretty tucked in. It's not quite touching the chair. It sits up inside. There's about, I don't know if you can see in there, about a 1/4 of an inch gap where my finger is, or not even, probably an inch gap where my finger is. So that's good. Yeah, we got it sitting up under there. So we're feeling a little better. Also, we got the wiring running through the frame right now. I'm gonna keep it going through the frame and pop it up right here, ideally. Mission success. Was able to run it up through that hole after going through the frame. Nice and simple. Now we're just going to wire it back to the end harness that'll plug into the actual compressor. A little update for you guys. So put a little hole through the drain plug there, pulled all the wires through, reconnected them. So now this clip is ready for the main power. Next up, we've got the switch cord, and my plan is to run that wire through here, up here, and then to the 12 volt there. So that's the plan. I'm going to take this screw off, take a look at these wires, and figure that out. We're going to have to pull this panel off first, which just pulls straight off, and then we got to unscrew one screw, and we should be able to get to the back of this panel. So all we got to do, get your hands back behind there. Once you do that, just give it a pull, and it's that easy. And then you pop this guy out here. This guy out. It's just the panel. It literally just pulls right out. And then 2 plugs. So that's kind of cool. So these are the two, the red and the blue, the ignition power and the standby power. Extended them. Red is red, black is blue. I went up under here, and I'm gonna go under this panel and come up out here, right where these are, and tap in to these two. I spliced the wires back into the cigarette lighters. So there's 2 colors in here. One of them's pink and yellow, the other one's orange and yellow. Pink and yellow is the always hot, orange and yellow is the glow. So your positive, your red and yellow will go to the pink and yellow, and then your blue and white will go to the orange one. So yeah, confusing colors because they're so similar, but that's back. So we can go ahead and screw that back in, put the piece back on, and then it should just be a few more steps before we test this out and then bolt everything back up together. Guys, well, didn't think I'd get here, but here we are. Isolating switch is plugged in. The other 2 switches are not being used right now. This is plugged in. These 2 aren't being used because I don't have the solenoid yet, because I don't have lockers yet. power is plugged in. These are the other switches that aren't being used. Running ignition. We're in off right now. This is our air. And last thing to do is plug the battery back in and give it a test. Alrighty y'all, it is a new day. I'm headed out to Moab today, so this has to get done right now. I've got the Rigged for Dirt summer camp coming up 2022. Super stoked that I got the invite to that, and I will be sharing lots of content from that in a separate video. Let me show you what I got going on here, and we'll get this wrapped up real quick, tidied up. Okay, so as you can see, I still need to attach the switch panel, which is just those 2 bolts right there. All of the cordage has been wired nicely to here. My switch cords go up through here, disappear into here, and then are attached to the 12 volt. I tested the system and it is compressing. Doesn't work when the vehicle's off, which is good, but it does work when it's on. Alright, so now we're going to get the air locked into here and then lock this panel onto the compressor itself, and then we can wrap things up. But as you guys can see here, this was my solution for the time being of not having the right mounting. That's just gonna sit with the rubber grommet thingy going on the bottom there. So that's what that looks like attached. Now we just simply need to attach these pieces here. Switch plate is hooked up. Got the little cover for the air port for the quick disconnect. So that's pretty convenient. Everything is cleaned up. So this is what it looks like from the top, from the front, back, and then from the back side, nice and plated. Okay, let's tighten the seat back down, see how it looks. That's the side view. Gonna be able to reach in, flip a switch, turn our air on, and then we've got the mount right there for our line. So I think now next thing to do is clean up, and then let's test it out. Good. It's not leaking. Holy crap, that fills air fast. We did it, guys. Nice. Mission accomplished. We freaking did it. That's by far the hardest Jeep install I've ever done. Just so much wiring. You have to tear into your Jeep so much. It's like just a scary feeling. But let me show you the front side, the back side, give you the full view so that you can see how this looks all placed out. Under there, and then from the front end, that's what we got going on. In the back, it's just the plate. So pretty clean overall. The chair still has all of its functionality. I am pretty happy with that. All right, everyone, that is a wrap for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you're gonna do the ARB install, the dual compressor, make sure you check out Jeep Generation's video. There's a few other good ones. I'll link some of them below. And then I know this wasn't the most detailed video. I am leaving for a trip today, the day that I finished it, so that's why I couldn't really, film as much as I wanted to. I had to really rush through it, so lots of questions in the comments. I'm very active there. I will answer all of them quickly. And yeah, I am now packing for Rig for Dirt summer camp. Heading out in probably like 4 hours or so. Should be a great time. You guys will get an update video about that. Appreciate you watching. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.